People, Deluded, I'm back again. I just wanted to speak about a couple of general points in relation to the Premier League, not necessarily anything to do with Arsenal. The first one, obviously the coronavirus, you're seeing in the UK, in society, you're seeing a lot of spikes, especially since people have gone back to school and work. So I don't want to comment on that, but football, you're seeing a lot of cases as well. The Premier League has announced during their latest testing, there's been 3 rounds of positive tests. The two of the 3, I believe, are Riyad Mahrez and Laporte of Manchester City. I don't know the third, and it's rude to speculate, but didn't Adama Traore get called up to the Spain side and told like he kind of has to leave, or was removed from the Spain side as a precaution? Is he positive for it? I don't know. He's just the first name I've seen. Obviously, it is a bit upsetting because we're seeing the Premier League start on Saturday, and we hope that it's positive in that regards. And I've seen Neymar and Mbappe have also contracted it. We're wishing everybody that contracts this, whether they're footballers or not, speedy recoveries. Arsenal's manager Arteta contracted it, and arguably that was what sparked the whole, what we saw with football being postponed and behind closed doors and the rest of it, people. So yeah, man, hopefully there's more positive news. On the transfer front, speaking about Sheffield United, they're signing some decent little players to make sure to prove to people that their first season in returning to the top flight was no fluke. Remains to be seen if they can perform above expectations next season with expectations on them. Many people thought, they just staying in the league's a blessing, and to perform the way they did, there were some bumps. I think they performed above expectations, or whatever anyone outside of Sheffield expected Chris Wilder's men to do. They've lost Dean Henderson back to United. They've signed Ramsdale. They've brought in Ampadu from Chelsea, 20-year-old. He badly needs to play. His manager Giggs kind of spoke about that. Maybe he was playing coy, knowing in hindsight this would happen. I think moving to Sheffield's a good look for him. The way Chris Wilder plays as a defender / midfielder, you will learn a lot. You will learn how to defend. You will learn the positions you need to be in at all times. He's 20, so he doesn't need to be the finished article, but at the same time, he needs to kind of cement himself. So, he needs to put on this loan spell to prove to Chelsea that, okay, cool, it's cool playing Reece James and Tomori and Mason Mount and Tammy and Loftus-Cheek. What about me? I'm part of this youngster thing as well. Gilmore, bring me in. I need to play. You need to put me in centre mid or centre half and let me show you what I'm on. Both areas appear congested. And for me, I won't go as far as to say Ampadu doesn't have a future at Chelsea, because I believe he's got the ability to. But, if he is going to be seen as a centre half, for example, and Chelsea's centre half look calam in it. Like, there's a case to sell a lot of them, really and truly. The only one I'd probably persist with is Zuma. I think Rudiger's a bit hot and cold. I think Zuma with a sort of more matured centre half, he can do a thing. I don't mind Christensen, but he's played a bit terrible. If there's Tomori's, I like Tomori, but for some reason he's been dropped out of the team. So if there's question marks over all these centre halves and you're able to play there and you've been let go on loan, this tells me you might not be rated, or you might not necessarily be in the immediate thinking. So in a healthy way, go and prove Lampard wrong. Lampard it might not be that. He might say, listen, I just want you to get a tiny bit more of experience, and then it's a shutdown thing. Didn't he try and get a man to do at Derby? I could be wrong. So he knows about his abilities. He knows what he's on. Obviously, his loan spot at Leipzig, he didn't play too much under Nagelsmann. Yeah, he bossed Spurs in the Champions League, but he did not play too many times. He didn't play enough. He simply didn't play enough times, people, to do anything really to develop as a professional footballer. So he needs to get game time, and I think doing that in the Premier League is a good look. He's immediately in the thoughts of Lampard. With every good game, what's going to be spoken about? How well he's played, how he fits in at Chelsea and things like that. He's not out of sight, out of mind, which to a degree you are if you're going to be playing in Germany and things. I think the ability's there. He only played 7 times for Leipzig. So while I think it was harsh, is there a reason as to why he only managed to play 7 times? I don't know. Maybe it was due to the system, because, there were some, watching Leipzig throughout their domestic campaign and champs, there was some real purple patches in certain individuals' performances. So that could be why. He needs games, and I think he'll get that. And apparently Chelsea want Declan Rice. And again, Declan Rice for me is different from Ampadu. But he's someone that plays the same roles. He can do a job at centre half. He can play in midfield. They're more or less the same sort of specialist sort of player. So again, if they bring in Rice, what does this look like? You can't rule out a future for him at Chelsea, but he needs to put himself in the shop window. Sheffield United also confirmed the signings of Max Lowe, and with all due respect to Lowe, I want to focus on Bogle. He's a right back I felt could make the move to the Premier League, you know, for a while. He's a right back I felt, you know, if you can't get Max Aarons, you could look at him. I'm pretty sure he's got double figures for assists for Derby. You know, with the system that Sheffield play, I think he'll do well. Obviously, he's young. There will be lessons he needs to learn. There's naiveties. But I think he's a fullback I'm going to look out for. I'm going to look out for Darnell Furlong of West Brom, because I used to play with him and stuff. He's a Premier League baller now. I'm making YouTube vids, quite sad. But yeah, man, Bogle, I'm keen to see what he's on, man. He's off that production line at Derby that's producing a lot of good players. You've got Morgan, you've got Whittaker, you've got Max Bird, you know, you've got Sibley, you've got what's that man in defence, man? I can't say his name, Bushman or whatever his name is. They've got quite a few players coming off the books at Derby and doing their thing, man. So yeah, man, I think he's going to be a good signing. That's 3 good signings, Max Lowe as well. 3 decent signings for Sheffield to go with Ramsdale and the rest of it. You know, we did hear Areola a few months ago was looking for a property in London. Many people, including myself, thought, could that be to move to Arsenal, in which we've got Leno? Could that be with Chelsea with the Kepa stuff? Could that even be West Ham? Could that be Spurs with Loris getting on a bit? You know, could it even be Palace? I didn't expect it to be Fulham. Apparently, the Real Madrid goalie, well, ex-loanee at Real Madrid, PSG goalie, is in talks with Fulham on a season-long loan. For him, he experiences the Premier League. He puts himself in the shop window if people want to keep him permanently, and it goes south for Fulham. So, and for Fulham, that's a big sign. I didn't think they would make it. Newcastle, like I already said, confirmed the signing of Callum Wilson. They've also confirmed the signing of Ryan Fraser on a free transfer from Bournemouth. Keen to see what happens there. Apparently Everton have confirmed the signing of Napoli midfielder Allen, and they've also confirmed the signing of James Rodriguez. Now, we all know about James Rodriguez. We all thought when he'd be a Premier League player, he'd be playing for Man United, because that's the team he used to be linked with at Porto. He's been around the block. He's been at Porto, Monaco, Madrid, Bayern. He's he's a quality player. We all know what he's on. We all know what he's on. We've seen him do it at World Cup level. We've seen him play. He's a quality player. You know, he's good at set pieces. He's a good attacking player. You know, he can hit a shot. For some reason or another, it hasn't worked out at all of these big clubs, and you're hoping it does for Everton, because the Premier League want to see that. Obviously, it does feel a bit like FIFA. It doesn't mean it's going to be a success, but he's a player Everton fans could be excited about. You know, he could clearly be a talisman. You know, he addresses a creative void. I don't think he can do it alone, but there isn't too many creative players. Like, they bought Iwobi for 30-odd million. He can play as a 10 and as a left winger. Productivity levels can't be there. They've shelled out 50 million for Sigurdsson. Can't imagine he's up there for goals and assists just in terms of productivity. They tried to get Davy Klaassen at one point. It didn't bang. You know, they need better options. So if you've got James, you know, breaking the lines and trying to score and provoking goal-scoring situations, when you've got Allen putting a foot in, when you've got, you know, Andre Gomez to potentially utilise in some capacity, and any other signings Ancelotti makes, it's decent. I think, with all due respect to Everton, if you put the money on the table, things would get done, but I think he's not signing for Everton. Well, he is signing for Everton, and that is the cherry on top of the cake, but I think the pool is Ancelotti, you know. You're hearing they're getting to Corey as well, you know. You can never doubt a manager's pool. And, you know, if I'm a player, you know, you can't play under too many managers that have done it in the game and accomplished what Ancelotti's done, you know. So it's big signings for Everton. And it's time they give their fans a decent season, because Everton always sign players where you're only like on paper, you know, they can build up a little squad, you know, they can do a little thing. And, you know, for one reason or another, they've always struggled and stuff, man. You would have thought Everton would be doing what Leicester did last year, and to a degree Wolves in that as well. Everton's fans deserve that, man. They've been sold short a couple of times now, to put it nicely, and I think they deserve more than that, personally speaking. On that note, though, I haven't got much more to add, so I'm going to get out of it. I just wanted to briefly speak about those things. On that note, like I said, DG, I'm out. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and the rest of it.